A few teams in the offseason have actually gotten worse, in my opinion. Not that many. I think for the most part, teams they did better. You can see that in general, a lot of teams did make strides, but there are a couple teams I just want to mention who I feel, there's a drop off in the talent on their roster. And first of all, we'll start with the Jets. I just don't think they made any of the right changes. Yes, I like them picking up LaRon Landry. He can be a beast when he's healthy. He can play the entire field, and he makes the defense relevant again. But that offense is shit. They should have cut Santonio Holmes. He's a cancer in that locker room. He's a horrible teammate. And they should not have traded for Tebow. Tim Tebow, I've always stated, should not be a quarterback in the NFL. He doesn't have the arm for it. I've seen Pop Warner players throw better balls than him. And he is a physical specimen, and he seems like a generally great guy, but I would never want Tim Tebow as a quarterback on my roster. Now, if you switch him to like a fullback slash receiver, a halfback slash wide receiver role, kind of like what they do with Danny Woodhead or Dexter McCluster, I could see some potential in having him on the roster, but I would never want Tim Tebow to ever throw a pass. He's not a quarterback. And then when you look at the Ravens, Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, they have always been fantastic, but they are another year older. And that it's gonna be what's really huge. The biggest loss is Terrell Suggs, who was Defensive Player of the Year. So this defense, while it still looks like it could be very strong this season, I doubt they'll be number one. And to the Terrell Suggs, it's a huge loss. He is a one-man wrecking crew, and I don't think there's no way they can actually replace his production on the roster. Even if it'll take an entire committee to put up to match the kind of numbers that Terrell would get on his own. So this defense has definitely dropped off. But at the same time, the offense does look better than it has in a while, and there's a possibility that they might be good enough to make up for it. And they should still make the playoffs. I still expect them to win the division, but the Ravens defense, in my opinion, no longer one of the scariest in the NFL, which has always been one of their backbones. That's been the core of the team. They've been a defensive unit this whole time, and the offense just kind of exists. And, of course, we have to talk about the Saints. They were hit hard by the bounty scandal, and while they aren't quite the team that they were last year, they should still be in Super Bowl contention. I picked Falcons to win the division this year, but I think the Saints are still a strong team. Whenever you have a leader like Drew Brees on the field, you are always, he's always competitive. You're always going to be in it. But at the same time, they lost a lot of players on that defense. They lost their head coach. They lost their interim head coach. And I think there will definitely be, a bit of a curve there. There might be a bit of an adjustment period. You could see them struggle and flounder a little bit in certain different games. I mean, Drew Brees is amazing, but quarterbacks alone are never enough to win a Super Bowl. Just look at what's been happening with Tom Brady these last few seasons. His defense has sucked to all hell, and so the Patriots just haven't been able to get a ring. And look at what happened with the Saints a couple years ago. They lost to Seattle. Why? Because as many points as Drew Brees could put up, Seattle could actually match him. Marshawn Lynch going beast mode. That's just a clinic on how to not tackle. That Saints defense has looked horrible. They've looked like shit these past couple of years. And now that defense is going to be missing some of their key players. So it's hard for me to expect them to do better than they did last season, though I still think they're going to be a great team. There will be some fall off.